What's up, everyone? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one, I want to break down what's happening with the overall markets. Let me first say that I am not a financial planner. Take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. Anyways, I just wanted to mention to everyone that we're going to be looking for some very interesting volatility in the markets. We saw the market dump quite a bit because of some big news that came out. In Japan, inflation was higher than expected, so their banks have once again raised rates. And as a result of that, that had a big effect on it, not only their economy, but also their stock market. And then here in the US, there's a lot of fear about a recession, which led to this big sell-off. And now the market's attempting to rebound amidst some hope that the Fed may cut rates. So I'm going to break down more information about this. The market thinks that there is a very, very high probability we're going to get 50 basis points worth of cuts by September 18th. The market thinks that the Fed has to cut even more, and they may have to do an emergency cut amidst everything that's going on in the economy. Why is this? Because manufacturing numbers are very weak and the unemployment rate was higher than expected. And there's a lot of fear amongst many of these recessionary indicators that the US is going to see some massive economic contractions. This could just be the start, and that's why investors are concerned. And right now, the market's betting that the Fed will end up giving us a cut in a very, very quick emergency meeting. So if that ends up being the case, that's going to lead to a very, very big shift in things. That's why the market's attempting to rebound right now. Now, if we don't get the meeting, if there's no emergency meeting, if the Fed does not give us an emergency cut, the market is going to tank. We're going to see a big rug pull. If we get an emergency cut, it's going to depend on what's extent. Is it a 25 basis point cut? Is it a 50 basis point cut? We'll have to see. That's going to be very important for the markets. We have very, very important people that who are coming out and saying that the Fed needs to make an emergency cut. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. There's nothing confirmed yet. And then another thing that's worth mentioning is the fact that there's a lot of tensions in the Middle East right now. The US is clearly getting involved alongside many other countries. We'll see how things go with that. If there is a big attack, this could have a big effect on the markets. We'll see. If there's no attack that happens in the next until the market opens, basically the market could still attempt to rebound. If there is one, that's going to be another factor that's worth mentioning. So once again, when it comes to news about the markets tomorrow, there's not really much coming out, just a couple of bill auctions. It's all very, very minor. And then when it comes to earnings, for those who are interested, we had Palantir just announced their earnings. But don't forget that Berkshire Hathaway is holding more cash than ever before. But for Palantir, they actually raised their annual forecast, so it's actually above expectations. We're now expecting an annual revenue of $2.74 to $2.75 billion, which is above expectations. Not to mention the fact that they raised revenue expectations from the companies by about $11 million. So that's bullish news. Good for them. And we're also starting to see them give their revenue, which is above what analysts were expecting, at 697 to about $701 million. That's also above expectations. So the annual forecast and their quarterly revenue expectations are above what analysts were looking at. So that's good news now that's coming out. For news about NIO, they reached their 15 millionth battery swap service milestone. So great news as this is continuing to grow in these sectors, primarily in China. And this makes NIO very, very unique compared to its competitors. I can't wait to see how this grows over time. Great milestone for the company. Also, they've registered about 32 vehicles in Germany for July. The EL8 is becoming a lot more popular, and they're about to begin deliveries in September for the new variants. So very, very good for Onvo. It's going to get a lot more affordable pricing, a lot more growth as a result of that. Can't wait to see how things end up looking like. On top of this, I just want to mention that Bank of America securities have a neutral rating, at least for now. For NIO, the price price ratio is still dipping, and there's still a little bit of weakness. Tuesdays are known for being one of the most green days historically for NIO, about 55% of the time. And also, volume is at 52 million, so it's going up just a little bit. So we'll see how things go. From a technical standpoint, as long as NIO holds above 3.93 tomorrow, we're going to most likely try to fill this gap and push up towards 4.04. If we fail to hold this, we'll be returning back down to 3.85. And if that fails us, we'll be looking for a big dip. But this is favoring the upside, so I think that this is very, very interesting, and I do favor more bullish momentum building for NIO. On top of all of this, I just want to mention that for other stocks out there, SPY is also looking more bullish. We have a nice cup and handle-like structure. If we manage to break this resistance at this 524 area, I think we could fill this gap tomorrow to about 531. Now, am I counting on it? The answer is not necessarily. It depends on if there's attack or not in the Middle East. If there's no attack, the market could still rally and hold up fine. If there is one, I'd be careful. And then right now, the market might try to rebound amidst all the talk about the Fed potentially cutting rates in emergency efforts. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. If we get any confirmation, if that's confirmed, if there is an emergency meeting, we're going to be looking for a nice gap fill. So yes, there could be a small rebound coming. For Nvda, we're making an attempt to rebound amidst all this news about the Fed potentially cutting. Going to be looking for 106 as a potential target if that ends up being the case. If we're bearish and we lose 98, look for a dip, but this is favoring the upside. Bitcoin is trying to rebound. If we manage to break past 55,000, I'll be looking for 56,000. If we lose support at 53,000, look for a dip, but this is favoring a little bounce. Stocks like Tesla are also trying to rebound. Going to be looking for essentially 207 tomorrow, especially if we hold above 204. And I think we might not even just stop at 207. We could even test 209, very close to where our 50 EMA happens to be. So 207 to 209 should be tested. If that breaks, we'll be pushing even higher to about 216. If we fail at 207, we'll see if there's a rejection. So long as there's no attack tomorrow, or if the attack is not too insane. And if the Fed doesn't really say anything about a meeting, if they confirm that the meeting is going to happen, it'll be good. If they say that they're not going to cut rates, so the market is going to dump. So be careful. As of right now, we have to wait and see if there's going to be an emergency meeting, but the market is pumping off that anticipation of a possible emergency cut. We're seeing the same thing on the QQQ. The QQQ is trying to push, looking for 442. If that breaks, we're going up to 448. It favors the upside in terms of the chart. Aapl is also favoring the upside. If we break past 212, we'll be looking for this gap fill all the way up. Well, first we'll be looking at 215, and then we have the gap fill to about 218. After that, so we'll see if that ends up being the case. There is upside potential. For the IWM, if we break past 204, we have 208 coming. If we lose support around 201, we're going to be looking for a dip, but this favors upside. The IWM is looking more bullish to me. For Coinbase, we look like we want to rebound as well. If we manage to break past 194, we could fill the gap up here towards 203. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. I see potential in that. If Amazon breaks past 163, we'll be looking for the gap fill towards 167. Meta is also trying to rebound. As long as we break up and hold above 480, I'll be looking for basically 486. There's a bullish wedge forming. So all the trusts look like they're trying to bounce tomorrow. Microsoft is trying to rebound. We have this gap to fill. If we manage to hold above 400 going into tomorrow, 406 is coming. So long as there's no major attacks or anything too insane happens, as long as the market does not get a negative reaction to an attack, and as long as we don't get some fear from the Fed, if the Fed does not say anything, the market will continue to rally off anticipation of a cut. If the Fed says there's no cut coming tomorrow, then the market's going to get a rug pull. So we'll wait and see what they say. But so far, the charts favor upside. Even Google looks like it's going to be testing the 20 EMA. So I see upside potential even for GameStop. We came up to fill this gap. We'll be watching 21. If we break down, we could push higher. Same thing with AMC. If we break past 5.09, look for a bounce for 5.2. So the market looks like it's going to bounce. NIO looks like it wants to rebound too. If we manage to hold above 3.93, we'll be looking for that gap fill all the way into the fours. We'll see if that ends up being the case. So thank you all so much for listening. We'll see what the Fed tells us if they say anything tomorrow. If they don't say anything, the market will still rally. And as long as you don't get a bad reaction to this news in the Middle East, I'll just keep that in the back of your mind in case there's a reaction. As long as there's, not like a major attack to start as soon as tomorrow, or as long as the market does not react too negatively, the market looks like it wants to rebound from a technical standpoint. So that looks like the most likely possibility. We'll see if that ends up being the case amidst the news that the Fed might have to give us an emergency cut. So we'll see if that ends up being the case. So the charts are favoring upside. We'll see if we get a nice break of resistance, and there could be a bounce coming tomorrow. With that being said, thank you for listening, and peace out.